Money Green.
Shayz on the mic.
And we are
Lyrics and
lies.
Lyrics and
Lies. The employees of the year, we're back to work. Took time off. But all the rappers got jerked due to the fact they lacking their tracks, had to go back and stack because they lacked the ingredients. EPMD and scratch with that. Lyrics and lies and scratch with that. What's up? It's Money Green with
Shayz on the mic.
With Shayz on the mic.
Before we get started, y'all, I got one thing to say.
Break it down.
Welcome back, Money Green.
Yeah, well, you know, I had to get some frequent flyer miles in. You know what I'm saying? They ain't gonna airport gonna call me, tell me something. You need to fly. You ain't been anywhere in a month. I said, yeah, it's been a whole month. They said, yeah, but it's been a month. You need to go somewhere soon. So I had to jump back on the plane. You know, I spun the globe, put my finger on it like Hakeem did with Simi and Coming to America. And landed on Los Angeles. So I went out to LA and did my thing for a little bit, trying to track down the cast of Coming to America Part 2. Couldn't find it, so I couldn't be in that movie. But I found myself on the set of a TV series. And so that's what Shayz was referring to.
Yeah, he been doing a little bit of stuff. He also, you know, went to visit the Prince industry over there. What is it called? Paisley Park? Didn't you go check Paisley Park?
No, Paisley Park is in Minnesota.
Oh, Minnesota. But didn't you go to Minnesota? Didn't you go somewhere where Prince was?
Oh, you're talking about the Museum of Pop Culture. That's Seattle.
Oh, that's where you went.
That's in Seattle.
Okay, so you went there too.
So, yeah, that was in September. That's why I went before the station. I mean,
that's why you was doing. That's why they called you back about your freaking flyer miles.
Yeah.
You had to go out to California after that.
Yeah, and actually the flight leaving from there, going to California the first time, that was a free flight due to my frequent flyer miles. So I get around like Pac. You know, glad to get wrecked. All respect to those who break their neck to keep their frequent flyer miles in check.
Okay.
Cause yo, travel agent sweat a brother majorly.
So
I don't know why Southwest keeps paging me. Yeah,
is it true that California knows how to party?
I mean, we partied a little bit. And I ain't talking about the Hollywood party. We did the regular party. And I know cocaine in these party. I don't mess with that stuff. But yeah, went out there and did my thing on a TV series. Shadowed a director and was also a production assistant. So I learned a lot. And I did more stuff than that, but we're gonna keep it at those two.
Okay, is your name gonna be in there?
I hope my name is in the credits somewhere.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? That will come in handy.
Yeah, that's
Let people
great.
know I ain't playing around.
Yeah.
You know, because people think I be bullshit. But I'm letting y'all know. You know, I joking kid, but I don't play. You know what I'm saying?
When
I
it
do
comes to
thing
that.
right there. And right now, take the girls in the hotel, do what I gotta do. You know what I'm saying? But who we talking about out in Hollywood since we on the topic of Hollywood?
Well, today we're going to talk about Tisha Campbell-Martin.
Tisha Campbell.
Tisha. However you want to say it. I call her Tisha. You know, like Campbell. I know her like that.
Little anyway. Sexy Tisha Campbell with the wild and crazy personality. I really enjoyed her. She's one of my favorite actresses.
And she will be co-hosting with Tashina Arnold again on Soul Train Music Awards.
Yes, and we did a show on their first time doing it last year.
So they're going to do it live this year.
So they're going to do it again. So if you all get the opportunity, go check out what we spoke about the show. We did a review of the Soul Train Awards last year. And of course, we're going to do another one this year. But for now, we're going to talk about Tisha. But y'all can do that after y'all listen to this episode. So, Tisha Campbell, episode on Uncensored.
Yes, which is on TV1.
Right. And it's normally a raw show. Normally give you a lot of details into the actor's life. And they pinpoint certain things. So it's not like a timeline. They normally pinpoint certain serious or comedic parts of a person's life. They're normally milestones in a person's life or something very serious or something major. And then they discuss those. A lot of things we may not know about. So we found out some things in this episode that we didn't know about.
Yeah, we found out some heartfelt things that happened in Tisha Campbell's life when she was younger.
Break it down.
She had an incident that happened to her with a babysitter, a friend. or a family associate that babysit her and her brothers.
Right.
She was acting up like she usually do, trying to keep her brothers in line. And her babysitter at that time touched her. Well, basically more than touched her, he molested her. But unlike other children who have that happen to her, she actually closed up. You know how when something happened to you traumatically, you shut down, you're not yourself. But Tisha Campbell told what happened to her. And
Right.
that usually doesn't happen.
She got molested.
Yeah, she got molested.
She got more than molested. She
Got touched more. I mean, not just touched, but she got molested.
Yeah, she got raped.
She got raped.
She said, yeah.
And I think she was only 5 or 4
Yeah,
or 5 years old.
about 4
She was
or 5.
really young.
And it's wild because I understand, like, when it was so clear in how she described it that it hit me, not physically but mentally. It was like you were there with the detail, and I could feel the pain. But she said that her vagina was too tight, so the man flipped her over and put it inside her anus. And she said she remember the pain, how she curled up in the corner, and then she limped, for days. But her father saw her limping, and he asked her what was going on, and that's when she explained what happened. And then you talked about how nothing was done to the babysitter.
Mm-mm.
Now, that's tragic. So beyond the show, how would you have handled that?
But to be honest, I was quite shocked that it was a male watching them. That I think that's the one thing that got me.
But that happens.
Well, I usually when you have a babysitter, it's usually a female. So I guess when it was a male,
You would think that.
You would think, yeah, I would have thought that. So I was a little shocked to find out that it was a male.
Right.
And she even broke down that her parents were young. Her mother was young. Her mother even spoke to that I think it was so much for them to take on that. The processing of it all was so overwhelming. I think they didn't know what to do.
But her mother was in her
mother
20s.
was 19. 19. I think she was 19.
So Tisha's the oldest? I didn't think Tisha was the oldest. But say her mother was 19.
She was 19.
All right. Her
was
father was probably in his 30s because he was substantially older. I'm not going to put any blame on them, although we can easily and definitely put it on the father. But how would you have handled it? Just off the top of your head, because this isn't a right or wrong answer. This is real tricky because.
Oh, I would have stepped to the babysitter.
How would you step to him?
I would have said something to him about what he did to my daughter.
Verbal, so it would
have
remain
been verbal,
verbal,
and it would have been probably some physical would have went in it, because the first thing I'm already enraged that this has happened to my child. Trying to keep my composure, I probably would start off talking, but I don't think it would have ended in
okay, I can see that.
in talking.
Because what's rough about that is you have how you feel personally. So it's either going to be verbal. When you go at the person, you go at them verbally, you're going to curse them out, you're going to ask them why they do that, you're going to tell them what you think about them. Or it's going to be physical. You're going to beat them up, you're going to jump on them, grab them, choke them, get a bat or get a gun. Or you call the authorities. Other than those three, you can do nothing. And doing nothing is what hurt her. Because she said she didn't think anything would happen to bad people because a bad person did that to her.
And nothing happened.
And nothing happened to her. Her father didn't step to him, like you said, like you would do. He wasn't touched, he wasn't reported. They just kept living their lives. So that goes back to what, we got all these serious shows going. I'm gonna cut up soon. But hold on. I know we talked about before how in our community traditionally, I'm not sure how much it goes on today, but it probably does. But traditionally, they say we would sweep things under the rug. Mm-hmm. So whenever there was a molester in the family or something went on, it was a hush hush. Don't say nothing. We're gonna leave it alone. And all that does is hurt the person, and it allows the abuser to potentially abuse somebody else.
Correct.
And that's like a super sick abuse. So I know I asked you what you would do. I would probably pay that person a visit. I think I would send the kids back the next day. And I think I would go over there a little while after dropping them off, just so that person can think it's a normal day. And I know that sounds kind of tormented. Why would you send them back in that environment? But I'd probably go in there maybe 20 minutes afterwards. And then it would probably be physical. And not only would that make the daughter feel good, but that would make me feel good. And then I think after the physical altercation, then I think I will report them. So you got all types of stuff going on. But a daughter needs to know that she's protected by her father, and a child needs to know that he's protected by his father, mother, parents in general. But for a girl, and a boy too, but we're talking about girls in this example. If the man that is her protector doesn't protect her or shows her that she's valued and her safety is valued, then I can understand why she would lose hope in certain aspects of life.
I get that.
And not feel like anyone really has her back. Because it's one thing to have your child's back when they get in trouble in school. No, my child didn't do it. Or you don't know my child, you're not suspending my child, or things like that. Or y'all not gonna put your hands on my child. But when something really happens to her, because that's traumatic. This isn't a suspension. This isn't getting jumped in school or getting beat up by her peers or
yeah. But the father
like
kind of blamed the mother. He got on the mother and didn't get on the person. So
I don't think that's how it was.
If you go back to the video when she talks about when she told her father and she told him, the father actually said something to the mother about what happened.
He said he went yelling to the mother, but I think that was him. We're gonna get to your point. My bad. I think that was about him yelling and expressing his frustration about what happened. Like, I can't believe they did that. I think it was more like that.
But she said she blamed the mother.
Okay, right.
In the episode too. But also what I was going to say is something significant about this person who was babysitting and that they didn't say anything because Tisha didn't just tell her mother and father. She told the family.
Or they made her explain everything
to the family.
Right.
But however you go down, it's you're telling the whole family who knows this person
over and over again.
So
which means it's a family member more than likely.
Yeah. So my thing is, did you not say something because of who this person was and they represented? That's why y'all couldn't say something directly to the person, because now this father that showed Tisha, oh, this is my father, I'm this tough man, I'm this, that. He now showed a different side of who he was to her. So with that kind of makes you think about some other things. You know what I'm saying? Like, who was this significant person to this family?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that raises some questions too.
Uncle, cousin.
They didn't go. Yeah, because at first they didn't say it was a family member. They made it seem like it was
they never said it was a family member.
Right.
But
they just said it was a close friend to the family. Right. And if you didn't sat around as the child and you're giving this story to everybody in the family and nobody's doing nothing, something's up with this person who's babysitting. Right. Has this person done this before and you've heard this before? Yeah. I mean, it just makes you think of a whole bunch of different things now that nothing's happened.
And is they going to do it again?
Right. And have they done it before?
And how many people did he do after this incident?
And how come they still babysit?
Because it would have been some furniture moving, in the words of Bernie Mac. Been some furniture moving up in that house. And I let my daughter know after the furniture was moved, Daddy loves you. If anybody else put their hands on you, or thank you for telling me, anybody put their hands on you, they can have to deal with some, And she's like, yeah, that's my Superman. Because I remember how she said he was built like a football player. So that means she felt protected by him, like the physique that he had and the image that he had made her feel protected. But he didn't step up at that moment. And you know, that's unfortunate. But moving on. What else? Because I think that's it for the most part.
That's it for
the
that
episode.
Part of it. That part of it.
But for the episode, as far as the drama.
As far as the drama, everything else was going into her life as becoming a, becoming an actress and a songwriter. Because she started acting when she was young. She was in commercials.
Right.
She started being in commercials. Then she started actually auditioning for certain shows and movies, and that's how her and I mentioned her by mistake. That's how her and Tashina Arnold, they became friends because they kept meeting each other on different sets. And one thing that they both realized, that this one person was always getting always getting the lines, or always getting
hired, getting booked,
and they weren't.
But I caught on to a lesson. Like, one of the undertones with her is networking. She built and maintained relationships with people. So you just said Tashina Arnold and AJ Johnson, her co-star in House Party. Then you have AJ Johnson went on with Baby Boy. So that's the mother and Baby Boy and her homegirl in House Party. But everybody she was building relationships with, she was getting a hookup here and there, or they were getting, the 411 on rolls. Mm-hmm. My Wife and Kids came up, and she wasn't offered the opportunity to audition. And one of her pieces, like, look, you need to slide in here, whatever. So she was getting the hookup here and there. Yeah. Another interesting part was Tommy Ford. So Tommy Ford recently passed away. That's Tommy on Martin. Everybody loved Tommy, but
he was the peacemaker.
Her talking about how he would have girls in his trailer or in his makeup room or whatever, and he would have sex with these girls, and it would be so loud that they could hear it, and they would laugh about that. Those were interesting stories. Mm-hmm. And how they would talk about all the things he was saying to the girl when they were having sex, or what the girl was saying to him, or what have you. That was funny, because I didn't see that coming. That was a curveball. Tommy the Sex Machine.
And then Tommy was the peacemaker when he passed, because all of them hadn't talked in a while, and then.
Well, he wasn't a peacemaker. His passing brought them together.
Right, but she said in her interview that Tommy was that kind of person when he was alive too.
He was a nice person, but he never brought them together all them years.
No, not in that sense.
It's been 2 decades.
I'm not talking about for the show.
Oh, I got you. I'm just saying she never brought
in general
his spirit.
That's
right.
what she was saying.
He had a friendly spirit, a cool spirit, a fun spirit.
Yeah, but his passing did bring everybody together.
Right, because it let them know that life is short. Because Martin was on some BS. And she had a right to.
All of them was on some stuff.
Nah, it was Martin.
Young.
It was Martin.
When you're young too,
it was Martin.
Too.
It was Martin. We love Martin. Martin was on some BS.
I'm not saying that Martin wasn't on any, but I'm trying to say everybody has their part to play in it too. There was some situations that went down to that Tashina. I keep on saying Tashina. I'm sorry, Tisha Campbell. Martin
was on some major BS, and he broke all that up. You ask Cole would tell you that. You ask Tisha Campbell, she gonna say, okay, I'm not gonna say.
Spoke on it too.
But she is neutral, because Martin's a homeboy, and she just tries to stay out of it. But Cole laid everything out, for real. But it's cool. I mean, and Martin learned from his mistakes, and he apologized, and they ironed everything out. But he was cutting up on that set.
Well, you gotta understand too. He was young. His hair got
powerful.
Big.
Yes, that's
his
what
hair
it was.
got big. I mean, and everybody who gets success that quickly, who came from a certain kind of
and he was awesome.
Upgrowing, they're gonna some things are gonna happen.
And he was smoking some stuff that
he
shouldn't have been smoking. And we ain't talking about no regular stuff.
And that too.
Right. So
that happened too.
He had some bad habits. So but yeah, Tisha Campbell, that was a nice episode.
That was a nice episode, and she also shared about her son
who has
autism, and
he sound normal.
That's how autism. I mean, if you even talk about what's her name?
Don't bounce to my girl. Don't talk about my girl.
You know who I'm talking about?
If it's one of my girls, I want you talking about.
Do you know which girl it is?
Which one?
I'm talking about Tony Braxton.
Oh, that ain't my girl no
Tony
more.
Braxton's son has autism.
Once she got touched by Birdman,
too.
once Birdman put his hand, she allowed Birdman to touch her. She ain't my girl no more. But
autism.
But she said
We're
that.
going back to the autism.
But Tisha Campbell said that her son was diagnosed with it because it had been 18 months and he had yet to speak. That's one of the things that drew them in. What's interesting about that is that's I'm like a year and a half he hadn't spoken.
He must have been just making noises.
My parent, my grandmother was ready to take me to the doctor for that because I was 3 and I wasn't talking. But I would talk to my father. My grandmother didn't hear me talk. My mother barely heard me talk. So they really thought something was wrong with me. And then,
that's because you was playing.
No, I just wasn't talking. I ain't had nothing to say. Like now, I'm too smooth. I just be chilling.
Whatever.
You know
Anyway,
I ain't got nothing to say.
Back to the baby.
I don't talk until it's time to talk.
back to the baby. I mean, autism hits kids in different ways, so you can't really go by how they look and how he's talking now. But he's progressing, and Holly Robinson Pete helped her out as well too, because one of her kids has autism.
Yeah, helped her understand.
So she had a good network of people who helped her and guided her with what to do and what she needed to get on top of. Her and Dwayne at that time, which we all know her and Dwayne is not together anymore.
Right. So we're gonna get on Dwayne. In part 2 of this episode, we're gonna talk about Lisa Ray and Dwayne Martin. And we're going to throw some Tisha in there with Dwayne Martin, because Dwayne Martin is public enemy #1. And this has nothing to do with Flavor and Chuck D. No Terminator X. None of them. Professor Griff. This Dwayne Martin is a trip. Yes. But we gonna get to him. We got to talk about him when we talk about Lisa Ray, because right now he's trying to get allegedly trying to get money from Tisha Campbell. He's talking about he doesn't have any money. All he has is suits. And,
sell them. Sell the suits.
So Dwayne Martin is a trip. Dwayne Martin needs his own. We need to do a special expose on Dwayne Martin. And
tell him to check out Posh, because Poshmark, they make pretty good money. So you can sell them suits on Poshmark.
Oh my goodness. Shay's putting y'all down with where to buy suits from.
Okay, I'm trying to help Dwayne.
I see.
So you can get some money.
Tisha Campbell, the fantastic actress Tisha Campbell from School Days, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah,
which I have yet to see Little Shop of Horrors.
You haven't? That? Oh my gosh, you have to look at that.
I saw it in School
Days.
Days.
So good.
House Party, Boomerang, all the Martin episodes. What else was she in?
She was
My Wife and Kids. Her role on My Wife and Kids. I didn't think she could ever outdo what she did on Martin until I saw My Wife and Kids.
I like My Wife and Kids.
I think she outdid what she did on Martin. She's a great woman. I look forward to working with her. In fact, I actually talked to her once about working together.
She was on another show that we didn't even
Hold on.
remember.
I'm
sorry. I just want to throw it back to Richard.
You didn't hear what I said.
Now you can go back to you was talking to her on the phone.
That's not what I said.
Okay, go ahead.
Nevertheless, that is a big deal to talk with Tisha Campbell. And I talked with Tisha Campbell for a hot second.
What year was that?
This was, I think it may have been this year. Mm-hmm. And we talked for a hot second about, potentially working together. And at least I had her ear for a hot second. So I'm going to try again to present something to her. But hopefully she will be interested in what I bring to her, the script I bring to her, and the pay, and at the right time when she can bounce away from whatever project she's on, if she accepts my offer. But she's cool and she's dope and she's down to earth, and I love some Tisha Campbell.
And she was on another show that didn't last that long on TV, but it was that doctor show with the
Chinese guy.
Yeah, the Asian guy from off of what's that movie called?
Hangover. So Tisha, I look forward.
Doctor or something?
This is Money Green. I look forward to working with you. I can't remember her name on that show. And I also liked her in Everybody Hates Chris. She did a couple of cameos in there. She
did. I must have missed them.
She was the mother of the little girl that Chris had the crush on. She was her mother, and she was a trip. But I look forward to working with you, baby girl. I'm telling you, we're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna take real good care of you. You're gonna be on the set. They're gonna be giving you shoulder massages and whatever you want to eat. Tisha wants chop, bring it over here, and you can be like, this is what I'm talking about. And we're gonna, and I'm a look, and I ain't gonna say I was about to say, but I'm gonna look out for you. But nevertheless, lyrics and lies, talking about Tisha Campbell.
There are more lies than lyrics.
Ain't no lies up in this one.
More lies than lyrics today.
It's all lyrics with Tisha Campbell. When we talk about Dwayne, we talk about Dwayne Martin. There's a lot of lies in there because he's a lying mother. He's a shiesty.
Watch your mouth.
I'm just talking about Dwayne Martin, but he's a shiesty dude. He's a little, anyway, he's a messy little dude.
Yeah, I don't like messy dudes.
Yeah, he's a messy dude.
But don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like and share.
Yes, subscribe, check out the next video, and we're gonna holler back at y'all. Peace. Damn, that was a deep ass peep. That was a mean peep. Man, what the hell, where'd you get that from? You pulled that out of your soul.